Well, hello, gang. Hope you's all had a good week because we're in for a really cool lesson today. I have going to be performing and playing a little bit of some Blind Blake for you. It's This has always been Blake is one of my all-time favorite players. I was influenced by him so much, and he's done so many songs. I do a lot of his songs. Baby Lou Blues is just something that really brings out, I think, his playing, or the trademark, the hallmark of his playing. Really, louder. You want me to get a little louder there, Paul? Let's see if I can bring up the volume a little bit. All right. So, how about that? Is that okay, Paul? Hello, Andreas. How are you? I think should that be pretty good. Hello, Christian. How are you? Christian's from France, and Andreas is from Germany, and it's always good to see folks here. I think that you got it. Okay, good. The louder, the better. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, it's always good to be here. And like I was saying, Blind Blake's playing, in this particular example, Blake spells out a lot of his chords. He tends to at times spell out with single lines, and I always thought that was just really cool to do. And you'll hear what I'm talking about as we get into this. We have Fabian here, and Rick is newly retired. He's got plenty of time. Yeah, I hear you that. Your calluses are gone. Well, that's, wow, calluses are gone. Ow, watch out. Well, you're going to bring your calluses back on this one, Rick. And we have Paul J. being his Paris. You're in New York. James Brown from Oklahoma City. We have Sue in there. Hi, Sue, Madam X-Wing. And we got Homer Lyle from Toronto. So we got a whole bunch of people here. This is great. I love it. It's always good to see so many people here. I kind of forgot where. Oh, yeah. Okay. So if you don't have the tab for today's lesson, there's a link right up there. And it's the download tab, and it's tinyurl.com/download Toby Walker. Now, you won't download me, but you're going to download. And John's here from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Hey, John. Anyway, and then I've even forgot. Let me just get to where what I'm actually giving away today, because I'm giving away for your donations, and I'm always appreciative of your donations, folks. I always am. At any rate, so let me get to that, and I'll show you what I'm going to be giving away as far as that's concerned. For your donations, folks, let's make sure you get the tab, and also there's an audio of Baby Lou Blues, Blind Blake playing it, so you listen to that too as I'm talking, and again, you can find that on the same page where you can download your tab. All right, and the audio is pretty good. You can get an idea of what Baby Lou Blues is all about. But for this session, I'm going to be, for your donations, all right, for a donation of $10, I'm going to send you a digital copy of my CD called "What You See Is What You Get," and this one's really unique. There's a couple of reviews in it from Blues Blast magazine and some other places, but this one's really unique because it's the first time I've actually recorded myself playing electric slide. And I was using an old Gibson 1963 ES120. So that's on the recordings. Also, it's on the recordings. There's a separate page that comes with this, a web page, and it actually has 3 or 4 videos that were shot in the studio There's interviews of me talking about all the vintage guitars I used on this CD. And there's also interviews just about me. And then we did it on the fly. I literally decided, let me just try an idea out. And, you know, my friend Patricia Shee, the videographer, was filming this, and it wound up a song being on the album. That was just spontaneous. So there's a video of all that, plus there's pictures of all the vintage guitars I used on this CD. So that's only for a donation of $10. If you want to add just another $5 to that, and there's a guitar lesson on that too as well. But if you want to add another $5, for $15, I'm going to be teaching, there's 2 video instructional lessons that I'm going to be teaching you 2 of the songs that the late James Son Thomas of Leland, Mississippi showed me. And one is 61 Highway, and the other one is Beefsteak When I'm Hungry. And if you look on a place on the same page where you're downloading your tab, I put videos of actually me. One is me playing that live in Morristown, New Jersey, the 61 Highway, and the other one is playing in my other studio, Beefsteak When I'm Hungry. So that's that. So you get those 2 things for add another $5, and you're going to get those 2 things. Plus, I have a set of lessons called Grooves You Can Use. And it's all about the groove, and it's these really nice little licks that I show you how to play, and it gets a groove growing, and I show you how to put these grooves into songs that you already play. So there's that. And then finally, the last thing, and then we're going to get into the lesson, is for $60 donation, you get all of that, plus a year's access to my Premier Membership Club, which has every lesson I have ever put out. There's video lessons, there's tablature you can download, there's pictures and stories and recordings of vintage guitars I use, there's tips for guitarists, there's concerts on there, concert workshops, and that's a whole year's access for all of that. So you'll see all of that stuff in the donate tab. So anyway, let's get back to we have somebody from Italy too, and somebody, Maurice from Montreal. Love the blues time. Excellent. Mike is from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So we got a whole bunch of people all over the place here. All right, so let's get into Baby Lou Blues. All right, I'm going to play it as best I can straight through, and then we'll get into talking about the song. Those are the 3 parts that I'm going to teach you, and we're going to do it nice and slow. So don't worry about how fast I was going, how crazy it is. But I'm going to teach you that really step by step, and I'm going to describe Blake's playing in this whole process. So if we just take a look at the very first top line of your tablature with the Baby Lou Blues, you're going to see that the very first measure is only 1 note. And it's actually starting on the upbeat. So if you're counting this out, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, end. And then end, boom. And it drops in just a ba-boom. And that little ba-boom is a G note. I got a G chord ready. So it's and you're actually coming down on the thumb from the 6th string to the 5th string. And as you come down on that 5th string, you're going to be grabbing the 1st string. So listen to this first measure. I'll do that again slowly. And then we're going to be getting into the diminished chord. So let's take a look at this beat by beat. We start off with that little boom. Now the first beat in that first measure is. So here I'm getting the first finger, my second finger on that B note, and I'm getting my pinky on the high G note. I'm going to be pinching those two strings and then playing the first string again. Now we're going to come into the first triplet. The next beat is I'm going to be taking my first finger, putting it back onto the F note while grabbing the open fourth string. I'm going to be playing these three notes. So I'm grabbing the fourth string and first string together, then D, B. Now I'm going to come back onto the fifth string and third string, and then hit the G note. Then the last two is two bass notes that you think, well, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. But you'll hear as we put it into context going into the diminished chord. So we have this. See that little, there's a little double thumb we actually did before. And this is a hallmark of Blake's playing. I'm going to start off with the fifth string in the bass, and I'm going to get a diminished chord here already. And you can see that in your tab, the chord diagram. So I have, and this is how we go into the second measure. Listen to that again. So let's break this down. We're going to come in with the fifth string and then go immediately down to the fourth string. And we're doing a little triplet here. When I'm going the fourth string, I'm going to come in with my middle finger on the first string and then my index finger on the second. So it's a triplet. Now the next beat is your first and second finger on that first and second string and immediately jump into a G7 chord. So it's tricky. And then come down on the fifth and first string, and then the open second string, then the open fourth string, and then the C. So we have this. There we go. So that's a little tricky right hand move that's going on there. But it really flows once you get this, once you practice this and get this going. So we have our next, let me just check something here first. We have the next line now. This is going to be your second line coming in. And your second line is going to be as such. We're coming down into the C chord now, and we have this. I'll play this. I'll play the second line very slowly. Okay, listen to that again. I messed that one up, but anyway, let's do it again. So let's take a look at that first measure in the second line. We have the bass, and we're putting down our pinky on the first string at the third fret, and we're grabbing that first and second string. So we have now bass and a quick bass note to the G7. So we have, now you're going to come down on the fourth string and first string, and then into the C note. So it sounds off, but again, when we put this into context, it's going to work. So here is that first measure in the second line again. And we're leading into our C chord now. So here's the second measure. So right there, you have a little bass line moving up. So we have the C and a little bass run leading into the G. And that's another hallmark of Blake's playing. He would do these little bass runs leading into his chords. Now, for those of you that are kind of maybe struggling a little bit with this, don't worry, because this lesson, the entire session, I'm going to leave up on either my Facebook channel or my Twitch channel or the YouTube channel. So you can, don't worry about getting lost now. You can always review this lesson. Those lessons are going to be up there. So that's the intro that he plays. Let's take a look at the verse that he does. And I have to thank, just have to thank so much. I have a donation. We have donations coming in from Andreas. Thank you so much, Andreas. And we have one from Charles. Thank you very much, Charles, for your donations. Always appreciated. Let's take a look now at the verse, because this verse that Blake plays, what he plays against his vocals is interesting. You know, really interesting how he does this little staccato. So let's take a look at this. We're starting off with the 6th string, and that's from the preceding measure. So it's like ba-bum, and that bum is the downbeat. And when we're hitting the downbeat, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hitting the first 3 strings of the C chord. So it's like that, just like that. And you notice I'm cutting the strings off. So I'm kind of like muting them with my hand, just like that. And I get, then I hit the 6th string, and then the first 3 strings again. So I have, now with the F chord, I'm going to get right into my F chord, taking my thumb. The way I play the F chord is I'm going to be playing like an F here, but I'm taking my thumb, wrapping it around the fingerboard here, the back of the neck, and getting my thumb up on the low bass. That's the way a lot of country blues and blues players play that chord. Also country players like Merle Travis. Anyway, I'm going to be coming in on the upbeat with the bass and then grabbing the rest of the chord. So I have just like that. So I have, then I go back to my C chord, to the F chord, do that again, back to the C chord. Notice it starts with the bass ahead of time. And when I go to my G7 chord, I'm going to hit that 6th string in the bass first, and then come down on the downbeat with my thumb on the 5th string, like that. And as I come down on the 5th string, my fingers are grabbing the top 3 strings. So I have like that. So we have then the low G and then the other high strings. So it's, and you do that again. Back to the C. So that's how he plays the verse, and he sings over that, which I think is really kind of interesting. So once you hear that, you get an idea of that bass just coming in ahead of time. Ba-da. So it's ba-bum, ba-bum. And always remember that bass comes in, and then there's the downbeat. So he does that, with his fingers on the downbeat, but other times he's going to be using his thumb on the downbeat. But boom, so he comes down on that downbeat, and that's, again, it's a hallmark of Blake's playing. So that's the verse. And again, if you have any questions, I can always see them in the chat. You can always chat along there, and I'll see what you're saying there. So anyway, let's take a look now at the solo, because this solo is very challenging. And I would suggest, Blake plays this pretty fast on his record, but he also plays the exact same style real slow. He does, there's a song called Guitar Chimes, which he plays it very, very nice and slow. And he plays slow and he plays quick. So you can actually sound exactly like or close to Blake by playing something like this slow. So don't worry about how fast everything's going here. We're going to take a look at this very first measure. And again, it's going to, when it leads into the next measure, you're going to hear that little double bass thing. So let's take a look at the first measure here. Now remember, this is on your second page, but just prior to this going into this first measure on the second page, you're going to be hitting your low sixth string. So there's boom, there's that downbeat again. So I'm going to play that, and I'm going to play that first measure for you. Listen to that again. You hear those little triplets in there. So let's take a look at this beat by beat. We're starting that measure with a low C and then a high G. So it's boom, ba. And then the next beat is going to be a triplet. So that triplet is played on the fourth string and the first string, starting it off. Then my index finger comes in and grabs the C note on the second string, and then it comes over and grabs the third string. So I have now I'm going to put my pinky down on that high G, back on the high G, and just grab the fifth and the first string. Now the next beat is down on the fourth string, and then a little quick move into the G7. So we have this again. So here's that first measure again. I love how he jumps into that next measure with that double thumb. And again, that gives it some motion. He's not speeding up, but it gives motion. It makes the thing swing. And Blake really played with a lot of jazz players, so he has that swing to his style. So let's take a look now at the second measure with the G7. How's that? I'll do that again slowly. So you get that little triplet. So let's take a look at this very slowly now. We start out with that G7 and coming right into that fifth string. Here's the first beat. So there's your eighth note. Then he's going to come in with his pinky on the second string, and he's going to hit this triplet. So get that. So there's a triplet while grabbing the fourth string. And there he's spelling out a G chord. D, B, G. Back to the sixth string, first string, and into the C and the E. So listen to that again. So I have is the last G note on the first page part of the first triplet when combined with the first two notes? No, it's Gibson. No, it's not. What it is boom. It's just eighth notes. So that last G note is an eighth note going into the C. So that's what that is. And you have some other donations coming in. John, thank you very, very much. Sue, thank you so much. All these donations, I very much appreciate it. So now let's go into the third measure, and here we get a real idea of Blake's single note playing. Isn't that like just the coolest line? Listen to that again. So let's take a look at what's going on here. We're into the C chord. That little jump from the second measure to the third measure. Now I'm coming in with my finger on the C note, so I have this first beat, and then the next beat is a triplet. So we get that, and then the next note, the next three notes are triplets: G, E flat, E. So we have. Then we're going to follow it down with, and that's interesting, because it wants to pull you there. So we have, it's very, really nice, really, really nice, that F to the E. And then here he continues with another triplet. This is the last measure of that first line. So we have we're spelling out that C chord with the E, G, C. So we have again, he's spelling out these chords with a little triplet. Then we come down and grab the fourth string and open first string. And then get your pinky in on that third string on the B flat. So we have making it a C7, and then finally, so that last measure is, so it's just kind of cool. I'll play that whole first line in the solo for you, so you get it in. Really beautiful stuff. All right, so now he's playing a C7. That leads us into an F chord. The C7 is the 5 of an F, and that 5 to the F is like a 5 to a 1. And that's what's going on here. It put in that little C7, gets into the 1. But instead of playing the F chord, he plays this. So you get that. So here he's kind of leading you. So there we have this interesting little lick there. And then grabbing the F chord. And then and I really listened to this recording a whole bunch of times. He gets that little bass note in there. And it's important also, some of my students, they stumble, with something like this, because we have these triplets and all of a sudden we're breaking into eighth notes. So make sure that you da 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 da. Make sure you triplet and get into your eighth notes. So see that? And that takes you right into the second measure, which is just another beautiful line leading into your C chord. So let's take a look at this one. We're going very slowly. Get all these little triplets. Bop, 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 bop. Let's listen to that again slowly. Here's your first triplet, your next triplet, Your next one. And then he gets his D note in there. So let's listen to that again in context. And gets down into his final C bass note in the next measure. So that's another little beautiful, great little lick. And all these little licks, I want you to really get under your fingers and you can put them into your vocabulary when you're playing anything like this in the key of C. Let's take a look at that second line now, the third measure in his solo. Listen to that again. There's lots of little triplets in here. So he has the first beat is eighth notes, C, high G. Then he goes into his first arpeggio. He's grabbing the fourth and first string together, and then C, A. So you get like that. So you gotta move your second finger in to get that. Then, so you got a little G, E, C. Again, he's spilling out a C chord here. And then finally, going a little chromatic run. A, G sharp, G. So we have, and finally resolves it, getting back into his C chord. So here's how that second line altogether is going to sound. Of course, we're getting a last little G note in there because that's going to boom, bring you into the final line of his solo. And isn't this just, when you get this, when you really practice this and get this under your fingers, even at a nice slow pace, it's going to really sound, you know. Because Blake, you know, flies on this one, but you don't have to. So now let's go to the final, and again, thanks so much for your donations. They're coming in, and I just really appreciate them. Thank you. Let's get into the last line here of his solo, and this is really there's a lot of things going on with his G chord here to his G7. I'm going to play this slowly. I'll even do it slowly. So let's take this piece by piece, starting from that low G note. Ba-boom. So it's going into, from the last measure, going into this measure. And we start off with that, and we come down on our fifth string, and we're going to play this little triplet. Get this. So we have this low B and a high G pinched together, then an F and a D as a triplet. Now the next line is the open fourth string and second string, and here we have another triplet. So we have that open D, open B, G note, high G note. So we have, now our next set of triplets. So here we have the F and the low G, open E, I'm sorry, to the D, to the B. So you notice he's playing that same line. He does that over and over again, but yet he keeps his bass going. And the whole time he's spelling out a G and a G7 chord. The little arpeggios that he's using in there. Now let's take a look at that very last beat. Here he's leading into his F chord now. So we got that. And now we're going to come into our F chord. So let's listen to that again. Thank you, Christian, very much for your donation. Much appreciated. Let's listen to that F chord now. So we get this. So very slowly, the first beat is a 6th string and 2nd string, then a high G. So we have. Now I'm going to come down on the 4th string in my 1st string, and then add my pinky on the 2nd string, and then on the D note. So we have. And then finally we have a nice little triplet. D, C, A, then open G, A, C. So, lots of practicing in here, I know, but again, that's why I'm going over it slowly, measure by measure, so you can look back over this video, you have the tab in front of you, and just work through each measure. It's just great exercise to do this. When you get it, wow, it sounds great. And now finally we go into the next measure, the C to the G7, C to the G. So let's take a look at that slowly. This is your 3rd and 4th measure on your 3rd line. So we have a C chord. So we have that C, G, then the high, then the 4th string and 1st string. And then immediately get right over into your G7. And then again bouncing into the C. Listen to that again. Finally G. Now you notice I put that last little G note in there. Get that. Because that way you can go right back into the verse. So let me play that last measure again, and then you can hear how we can go right into the verse. See how that just brings you right in with that little upbeat on that bass. So here's now the 3rd line of the solo. Yeah, again, there's a lot here. Can you please say some words to your workshop in April? Oh, yes, sure, Andreas. We'll get to that, absolutely. Yeah, the workshops in April. I'm going to be putting on. Normally, I do the workshops at the end of the month, but this is going to be on the first weekend of April. And as it turns out, it's Easter weekend. That's the Sunday. So these two workshops that I'm going to be giving are on the Saturday, which I believe is April 3rd. And there are two classes, two separate workshops. The first one at 12 o'clock is what I call hot licks and tricks. And the all of the stuff I'm going to be showing people, I think it's in like a few different keys. These really cool little licks that you can add to your playing, plus really cool turnarounds. And then I show you how to put all of those into a 12-bar blues. So if we're doing, say, the key of A, I'll show you a bunch of turnarounds, really cool turnarounds. And then I'll show you a whole bunch of licks. And then I'll show you how that could be applied in a 12-bar blues in the key of A. And I think I also do that in the key of C. And I also do that in the key of E. So that workshop's called Hot Licks and Tricks. It's a 90-minute workshop. It only costs $35. And I send you all the tab, and you could record the entire session. We're going to be doing this on Zoom, so you can record the entire session on Zoom, and I'll also show you directions. If you never used Zoom before, I've got like really easy to follow videos for all of that. The other workshop I'm giving is called the Folk Blues, and on that workshop, I'm going to be teaching a few songs that not necessarily they're hard, like hard deep blues, but really what they are, they're basically folk blues. It's like traditional blues songs, and I'll tell you exactly what that's going to entail. The folk blues. Let me bring this up here. You're going to be learning three songs. I'm going to be teaching you: Candyman, the way Dave Van Ronk played it. Sugar Babe, the way Mance Lipscomb played it, and the last one is called Roberta, which is an old traditional tune, and I take it pretty much the way the late John Cephas of Virginia played it. So those are the three tunes I'm going to be teaching in the other workshop called the Folk Blues. You can, if you go onto my website, Toby Walker's Lessons, you'll just see, I guess under the index there, just go down to where it says Toby's virtual workshop, and you can sign up for that if you'd like. So that's the workshop overlap with the licks by the truckload workshop. No, actually, no, it doesn't, Andreas. There's a bunch of other ones in there, so you're going to have a whole bunch of other ones in there. And then there's other turnarounds. There's some turnarounds that I've never put out. They're really cool little turnarounds that are in there as well. So that's that. Anyway, let's take a look now at the very final ending that Blake puts to this song. Now, again, I would advise you to, on that page where you're downloading the tab, you can see and listen to Blake's original recording of Baby Lou Blues. So you can see how he does this. But the ending is really something else. And it's just this. It's a really great, cool little ending here. And he spells out a bunch of chords in this ending. Da 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 da. But he does it all with single notes. So let's take a look at this. And again, if you want to donate anything, I'm giving away all kinds of things for your donations. You can just see the donate tab, which is down there, little tinyurl.com/donate Toby Walker. And I'll be, you can see all the things that I'm giving away, giving back to you for your donations. Madam X, could you play the end of measure 26? The end of 26 going into 27, so you can hear those eighth notes after the triplets. Absolutely. So here we go. do that one more time, slowly. So that's how those two come together, Sue. Got it. Good. I'm glad you got that one. Anyway, folks, so that's the lesson for today, Baby Lou Blues. Now, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a concert right here in this studio. I'm going to be playing a bunch of tunes and kind of getting ready for actually a sort of a gig, which is on Sunday. I'm going to be driving out to Pennsylvania and taping an hour-long show in this studio. There's not going to be anybody really in there except for the technician and I think the producer and maybe one or two other people. But this is going to be aired, I think, in April sometime. And I'll let you all know when this is going to be aired. If you're on my mailing list, that's great. If not, just shoot me a contact and just say, please put me on your mailing list. I'll be more than happy to put you on my mailing list. So, Rick, it's good to hear from you, and congratulations on retirement. It's got to be so cool for you to be free. I saw your granddaughter, a picture of your granddaughter there. That's got to be the best, right? Mike, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you enjoyed the lesson, and thanks so much for everybody coming on out to see the guitar lesson. Every Thursday I do this at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Thursday at 7 p.m. I put on a concert. So all this stuff, you're welcome, Sue. You're welcome, Andreas. Thank you so much. And I leave the tab up on the tab page for a whole week. So you can download the tab, listen to the original song by Blaine Blake, and then get into your, you can watch the video on YouTube. It stays up there. Facebook, it stays up there. And the Twitch channel, I think it stays up for a couple of weeks. So either way, Christian, nice to hear from you as well. And folks, I'm going to go, actually I'm going to, I got to go walking my Labrador, Charlie, right now. Charlie's been waiting to get outside again. And it's beautiful for the first time. God, geez, it's 70-something degrees outside. Yes, and sunny. So Christian, we got good weather too. Christian's in the south of France. All right, folks, thank you again for tuning in. And I'll see you, hopefully, we'll see each other tonight for a really cool concert with a lot of cool stories.